What are the key alternatives to Grammarly that you need to know about? Hi there, my name is Brian Collins and welcome to the Become a Writer Today show. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 great options that are out there if you're looking for a different type of grammar or spelling checker. Now, if you like the content, don't forget to hit thumbs up, and if you want to get my latest video, press subscribe. The number one alternative to Grammarly that I use and recommend is ProWritingAid. In fact, I used ProWritingAid to edit my last book. ProWritingAid is a good alternative if you're looking for a professional, accurate grammar checker, but you want something that's a little bit cheaper than Grammarly. Why is that? Well, Grammarly costs approximately $30 per month, depending on your subscription. You can buy a ProWritingAid subscription for $70 for the year. Now, the only downside is the free version of ProWritingAid doesn't have the same level of checks as the free version of Grammarly. So if you want to get the most value from ProWritingAid, you need to get the premium version because you can only check approximately 500 words with the free version. Now, I like ProWritingAid for checking long form works, for checking creative writing, and I used it on my last book. How did I do that? Well, ProWritingAid integrates with one of my favorite writing apps, Scrivener. I use Scrivener for long form writing projects like a book. And using the ProWritingAid app, I can open up a Scrivener file and go through all of the suggestions and accept or reject them. I'm a ProWritingAid Premium customer and I've opened up the Scrivener file directly in ProWritingAid. To make a change, what I'll do is run one of these grammar, spelling, or style checker reports. And when I'm finished making my changes, or when I've reviewed all of the suggestions inside of ProWritingAid, all I do is click save and it'll publish it directly back to Scrivener. Even if you don't use Scrivener, it's still great for long form writing thanks to all of these powerful writing reports. You can check your writing in real time. You can check for style, grammar, a thesaurus, overused words, repeated words, echoes, and fixed sentence structure. In other words, there are more reports and analysis and tips about how you can improve your writing than you'll find in most grammar checkers. And at $70, it really is a great addition if you're writing for a living, if you write fiction, or if you're engaged in any type of creative writing. The next Grammarly alternative which you may find useful is Ginger. You can use Ginger via the web app or via a desktop app, and you can also add it to Chrome, much like Grammarly. In fact, Ginger and Grammarly were quite similar for a number of years. Now, I would say that Grammarly has gone past Ginger thanks to its AI writing assistant, and it will find and fix more errors than Ginger will. I've also found Grammarly a lot more intuitive than Ginger. But that said, if you're looking for something that's free, you could always use the Ginger software web app. And if you really wanted a desktop alternative, you can download Ginger and use that. Ginger also works out a little bit cheaper than Grammarly, so they regularly run promotions, and at the time of recording this video, you could take out a subscription for approximately $13.99. Grammarly works out at about $30 per month, so this is a bit cheaper. And it also has some inbuilt tools for translating your text from different languages, whereas Grammarly just focuses on British, American, Australian, and Canadian English. So Ginger is one to consider if you're looking for an alternative. The next alternative you may want to consider is White Smoke. White Smoke is like Grammarly, but it's not quite as widely or available. You can get it on Windows and it's coming to Mac soon. So the way I used White Smoke when I was researching it is via the desktop app. Now, White Smoke is cheaper than Grammarly, so it starts at $5 per month, and it includes a plagiarism checker, which is quite handy. White Smoke will find and fix more errors than your typical spelling or grammar checker that you'll get in Microsoft Word or Google Docs. But what I found is it's a little bit slower and more cumbersome to use than Grammarly. In Grammarly, you can accept or reject suggestions at a click, whereas with White Smoke, it took me quite a bit more time to go through all of the suggestions and all of the grammar issues that it potentially flagged. The next alternative to Grammarly that you may consider checking out is Linguix. Again, it's cheaper. It starts at $8 per month to get all of these additional features. And you can also try out the free version. The free version works much like Grammarly. You can install it into your browser or you can use the web app. For the purposes of this video, I took out an account and I have here a document open. So when I navigate into the Linguix apps, it takes just a second to load. And then it'll flag writing mistakes much like Grammarly. So I'm going to paste in an article so you can see how that works. Linguix will flag issues in your writing in a sidebar that you can review or that you can reject. And it'll also provide context to these issues as well. Linguix has some other additional tools which are particularly interesting. It has a custom dictionary, and you can also create a style guide, which is helpful if you're collaborating with other writers on your team. That's something that's only available in the business version of Grammarly. It also has a writing coach, so it'll help you learn more about potential spelling, grammar, and other issues in your work too. And this can be helpful if English isn't your first language, or you just want to learn a little bit more about the rules of English grammar. The next emerging alternative to Grammarly is from Microsoft. It's called Microsoft Editor. It's ideal if you're already using the Microsoft 365 suite of apps. So if you've written something in Word, or if you've written something in Microsoft Outlook and you need a way of checking your work and you need something more advanced than the inbuilt grammar checker, you can use Microsoft Editor. This is particularly, I suppose, helpful if you are working for a larger company and you don't have access to a Grammarly account just yet, or you can't copy across your documents for some reason. Because the app is already there, you don't need to do anything or apply for a subscription to your manager or to your company. Now, after testing Microsoft Editor for a little bit, my takeaway is that it's not quite as fast as Grammarly at finding issues in a piece of writing, and the AI-powered writing assistant isn't as advanced as what Grammarly offers. I really love the way in Grammarly you can go through suggestions and accept them all with a click, or review or reject them all with a single click. But that said, this is Microsoft's attempt to compete with Grammarly, and I'm sure it's an alternative that they'll continue to develop over the coming years, because Microsoft Office 365 has such a big install base. So chances are, if you're working for a company and you're using Microsoft Office 365, you have access to this already. So this is a great way of getting access to a professional grammar checker without necessarily having to spend much money on one. The next popular alternative to Grammarly is Hemingway App. It's based on the writing principles of the American author Ernest Hemingway. Basically, it will identify needless adverbs, instances of the passive voice, phrases where you can find a better alternative, hard to read sentences, and other issues in your work. Now, it's worth pointing out that Hemingway App is free, so you can't go wrong, but it's not a comprehensive grammar checker. In other words, if you paste some writing into Hemingway App, it'll help you copy, edit, and improve your sentences. It will help you improve the readability of your work, and it will help you fix some clunky language. But it's not going to catch all of the grammar and spelling mistakes that you will be able to catch even with a basic grammar or spelling checker. And unlike Grammarly, it's not going to give much context to the issues inside of your work either. So when you see a grammar mistake in Grammarly, you can click on the drop-down box and see the reason for this particular mistake and get some context behind the grammar rules, but you won't get that in Hemingway App. But it is free, so you can't go wrong with Hemingway App, and it will help you write something that's more engaging for an online audience. The next popular alternative to Grammarly is from Writercom. This writing app isn't that well known, but it's cheaper than Grammarly, and you can see here the pricing on screen. It starts at $11 per month for the Pro version and $18 per month for the Premium version. Grammarly has a business version of their product known as Grammarly Business, and after testing Writer.com, it struck me that this could be a potential competitor for Grammarly Business. The reason why is it has some good issues like a inbuilt style guide, which is useful if you're collaborating with other writers. It's also available on all the various browsers that you may be already using. And it also has some tools for collaboration with your team. And you can even see here the way they communicate what Writer.com is about on the site, that it's very much aimed at a business audience rather than casual writers. And here are some of the companies that they currently work with. So Writer.com, maybe one to check out if you're a small business and you're looking for an alternative. Those are the 7 key alternatives to Grammarly right now. ProWritingAid is my number 1 choice because of its accuracy, its ease of use, and its price point. Whatever you write, it'll help you find and fix errors in your work if you're looking for an alternative to Grammarly. Now, I've written a more in-depth article about some of the software and grammar checkers in this video, and I'll include a link to that in the video notes. There are a couple of other examples that I haven't covered in this video that you may want to consider. One Checker, Antidote, Paper Writer, Reverso, Sentence Checkup, Language Tool, and so on. And they may be worth considering depending on your budget and what you want to use a grammar checker for. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit thumbs up. And if you want to get my latest video, press subscribe.